Karen went from building her business around selling MLM products to building her business around her own products and programs and pivoting her YouTube channel.
I failed miserably and I actually pretty much quit it all. I've been able to do so many things. Why can't I make YouTube work?
You've doubled in 1 year what you did in 10 years.
Yes, and I wasn't even consistent.
We have to talk about this here on episode number 11 of the Video Brand Infusion podcast. My name is Meredith, and I'm here to help you infuse the best video marketing strategies into your business for consistent revenue with your own products instead of somebody else's. And you're about to find out why Karen is the very first guest of the Video Brand Infusion podcast. So let's just get right to it. Hey, Karen, welcome to the Video Brand Infusion podcast. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I wanted to have you on here as you're my first guest because
that's really exciting. I'm kind of geeking out about that in and of itself. So
I know that you just recently implemented a YouTube funnel on your channel.
I did.
And you messaged me yesterday with your first sale. And I was like, she's going to be my first guest on the podcast.
I am
as a
honored
way to celebrate. So I want to have you introduce yourself and your channel and everything. And we'll dig into all of the details of your channel growth and your funnel. But before we do that, I want to give a disclaimer to my audience that Karen is my community manager inside of my membership. And the reason why I want to just give that disclaimer is because we're going to talk about the YouTube Funnel Clinic program that Karen went through, but Karen is not a paying client per se. Karen had access to it like as a perk, as one of the many perks of being on the Meredith Marsh team. And so I just want to make that disclaimer. So it's a little different. But because you just made that sale and because your channel just recently reached a milestone, aside from getting that sale, I thought Karen should be the first guest. So we'll dive in. Give us your 60-second backstory. How did you get started on YouTube and what do you do?
Oh gosh, I got started on YouTube because I started becoming an online fitness coach. And at the time it was called Beachbody. It's now called Body. At the time, I didn't even know that I was getting into network marketing. I thought I was literally becoming a coach and I was mortified. I'm like, I don't want to be messaging people and knocking on people's doors to come and work with me because I don't want to be approached like that. So I'm like, well, I want to go to YouTube. What if I just started making YouTube videos? And that's where my YouTube channel started back in 2013. And it's been abandoned more than once in that time frame. So, fast forward, my husband and I have a company. I do a lot of the things that in the back end for our company, like CFO. When I became a coach, I decided I'm going to go further. I prefer working one-to-one with people. So I'm going to become a fitness leader. I got certified as a fitness instructor. I started teaching weight training. I was also a cosmetician. So I had quite a few jobs going along. And I got really physically and mentally tired. I felt like, this isn't really my true story. I'm out here selling fitness programs and an idea of health. And my story dated way back 20 years prior, where I accidentally lost weight just by walking. So I felt like people didn't really know the whole truth about me. They just saw me as I was. And I was really working hard at trying to teach people how to enjoy their body as it was during the process of perhaps losing weight or getting more fit. Because what I found was, people don't like themselves. And myself included. I'm always looking to improve. But I felt like nobody wanted to do that, including me. Nobody wanted to love their body. I created my very first online program called the Love Your Body Now Club. Nobody was Googling that, including myself. And so I failed miserably, and I actually pretty much quit it all. I hung up my fitness instructor hat. I decided to go into helping other people create their online businesses and online digital courses and whatnot. And so I became kind of on the other side where I'm helping other people make their dream happen. And so I knew all the nuts and bolts, but I could never apply it to me. And every single time I tried, it just seemed to fail miserably.
You mentioned that you abandoned your channel multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So did you delete it and start again? Did you tell me about that. And then how did you end up sticking with YouTube and actually making it work for you? Like what made you decide to do that?
Okay. Yeah. So that's a really great question. Yeah. I just left it there. It sat there, generating no views. And, in part of my journey of discovering, how to do online marketing, I became an affiliate for, a diet program. And so I started making videos of my journey, and those videos started taking off because I knew a little bit about titling and SEO. And so I was doing all those things right. And those just dominated my channel. And then when I wasn't an affiliate anymore, nor was I doing the program anymore, those were still dominating my channel. So I thought for a while, I thought I'll never get this channel back. I don't know what to talk about it on anymore because now I'm doing online courses. I even started another channel for just specific online courses, but my heart and my soul just keeps going back to health. And I'm like, I couldn't leave it alone. And I always had this dream that people are going to be able to just type in their search bar at what the problem is. And if it has to do with anything that I can offer, they're going to find me and they're going to create this relationship with me just by being kind of like a virtual BFF, like it can happen naturally the way it would happen naturally in the real world. And so I still had faith, tenacity, and a stubbornness that this YouTube thing, it's going to work. But I had to get clear on what my message was going to be because it's my channel is a dog's breakfast. You'll find everything on there. It's just too much.
So you said that you had a little bit of stubbornness in that. Do you mean like you were stubborn, like I'm going to make this channel work? Or were you stubborn in, no, I'm just going to upload whatever I feel like and somehow that'll make YouTube work?
I was a little stubborn with both. Stubborn with the fact that I didn't want to be on multiple platforms. I didn't want to manage multiple things. Very stubborn that I'm going to stick with YouTube because I've seen so many other people have success doing what I want to do. And I know it's possible. So it has to be that I'm not either being consistent enough. I'm not, following structure enough. I don't have a second date for people to come on. Like I'm not like growing my email list like I know I should be, because it's the people that are on your email list that if they're interested in one thing from you, they might be interested in another thing. It's not the people that are like just coming by. So I'm like, okay, well, I have this podcast that talks about everything. And I want to do that on my YouTube channel. And then I have this and I have cooking and you helped me make it cohesive. That's our word of the month.
Yeah. Cohesive, right? I think is turning into the word of the year for me. So what are some of the things that you tried in terms of like growing your channel? Because you mentioned that you thought maybe I'm just not being consistent enough. Maybe I'm just not using, like not having a system or a structure. What were you doing to grow your channel? Like what strategies were you using?
I wasn't using many strategies. Like before I met you, I was just using like, keyword research, the basics that you can learn from any YouTube guru out there or YouTube video. Like look for your terms, do something around that and put it up. And, I've had some success with that. So that's where the stubbornness came through, is like, I've had some little enough success that I knew that if I applied myself the way I apply myself for other things in my life, that I could really make a go of this. But I was consistently finding myself in the too busy world. Like I'll take on this project and that project, and maybe if I do all of this, then I don't need to pay attention, and I get too busy. And then by the time I get back to what I was doing, I forget, like, where was I? So I kind of needed someone to continually guide me back to the fact that you have a plan. You made that plan, and you just need to go back and stick to it because there was a reason for it, right? Because by the time I'd get back to it, I have this other shiny new idea. I'd kind of make the product first instead of get the, I'd go into creation mode. I wrote a book, told no one. No, that's not true. I say that I told no one because it reminds me of that line of the Grinch, and the Grinch stole Christmas. Solve world problems, tell no one. My husband is always teasing me about that. Like, how many people have you told about your book? Not many. I took that book and I learned how to be a better speaker. I went through all this training, created a one-woman show, and I take the concept around, and I've been able to do that. I've been able to run marathons. I've been able to do so many things. Why can't I make YouTube work? Because I was refusing to look at it like it actually could be a business. That's a big scary dream.
So what changed for you then? Like, because a couple of years ago, so you joined my membership, Thriving Creator Society, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You came in as a member, and then last year you became my community manager, right?
Yes.
It's been a year and a half that you've been still in the group, participating in the group, but also helping me like manage it.
Yeah.
But before that, you were just like a regular member, like coming to the calls and learning the strategies and stuff.
Yes.
So what changed for you, or like what was the moment that you changed or started implementing a strategy that made your channel start growing? And where are you at with your subscribers now? Because I know you just reached a milestone.
Yeah. Okay. So, I tried a few things with you when I was a member. I started setting up that other channel. I saw how quickly it was gaining momentum. But again, squirrel, wrote a book, did all these other things. And I stayed in the membership, honestly, out of, again, it's that stubbornness of myself. It's like, I know I'm not doing the work. So I can't say that the program doesn't work, because I'm not doing the work. So every time, every time I show up and I'm not doing the work, I would get that little ping of, I'm seeing other people, they're implementing, and Karen, you're not doing the work. But when I became community manager, I'm like, okay, here's Karen with this little channel of 208 subscribers. She's not doing the work, clearly. And she's all of a sudden manager. Like, what are they going to think? Plus, not to mention the fact, I'm helping to create systems by which people can implement the lessons. So I got to be a little bit ahead of that, right? So I started actually implementing like a boss, like just, okay, I'm going to do the work. And even though I had very minimal amount of time, I continued to come back to where I was because I had the plan out in front of me. I knew where I was going. I had the roadmap and I knew what I needed to do. So at the time, I was still getting, about a year ago, I was still getting in my top 5 were still those old affiliate videos. And I'm like, I have to take back my channel. And that was the first thing that I focused on, was taking back my channel. And it started to work. And then it really started to take off a couple of months ago, 2 to 3 months ago. It was like, okay, hey. And then I crossed the threshold of 500 subs just recently. And those affiliate videos are way, way down the list. They're not even getting views anymore. And all the views that are, accelerating more growth and subscribers are the ones that I actually want to be talking about. So for me, that's a huge success. And that was a huge, huge milestone. But really the catalyst was, if I'm the type of person is if I'm community manager, I'm not I got to be doing the work or I'm a hypocrite. So I don't know if that was your plan, but,
hey, I mean, I don't want to say like, well, you have to be my community manager to get stuff done. But I think, and just to, I invited you to be my community manager because I could see that you are very organized.
thank
And not because you had like, oh, Karen's wildly successful and implements everything that I teach, she should be my community manager. So it's funny that you saw it like from a different angle. Like, I'm not doing the work. How could she possibly think that I should be the community manager? But I'm curious, was there one thing, and we'll dig into your YouTube funnel and your lead getter and your secret video and all that stuff in a second. But was there something, because you just crossed over 500 subscribers,
Mm-hmm.
and you said something in there about the videos, your older videos, that was the content you did not really, that's like not really what you wanted to be talking about, has now sort of fallen off of, like, it's still on your channel, but it's not the thing that's driving views and subscribers right now. It's the stuff you want to be talking about.
That's right.
So how did you make that transition? Because it's, to me, that sounds like a pivot that is a pivot that has paid off, and pivoting on YouTube is not easy. So was there some specific thing that you did that made that pivot work for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because it falls under the same umbrella of health, which is just a very wide umbrella. So I'm very fortunate there. But I followed it's the 5 and 10 principle, where I went back to the top performing video, and I made a bridge video. Because it was top performing, what you teach in the community is how to allow that to help you pivot. And so I feel like that one didn't like really overperform or anything. It still gets a few views here and there, but it allowed me to get it off my chest. And I think that was the huge turning point, because for me, I've always had troubles like when I've disappeared for a while, how am I going to explain my absence? And you don't need to. You just need to get up and get going, right? But I needed to just set the record clear that, I made a mistake when I was doing the program that cost me, it wasn't a mistake that the program taught me. It was what I was not implementing or listening to, a piece that I just kind of cut out, that I ended up in a state of body burnout because I was just staying in the zone too long, which is that we can go down a rabbit hole there. But I just had to explain that this is not necessarily this way of life is not necessarily meant for everyone, especially if you're not listening to everything. So I needed to really set that record straight, that I made a mistake, this is the mistake I made. This is what I wish I would have done. And now here we are. And then I just started talking about, what I did to heal my body. And so that was just happened to be walking. Right. So that's when I decided to do a beta on a walking challenge, which was about a year ago.
Okay. So you basically looked at your content and you were like, I don't really want to talk about this stuff anymore, but I can't just start talking. I can't just shift it. So it really wasn't a full pivot because you're still talking about health and things like that.
That's right.
So instead of just going another direction, you made a video basically telling your audience. How many subscribers did you have at that point? Do you know?
I think it was like 220.
Okay, so so you've doubled since then.
Yes.
So you made a video that was like, hey, this other stuff that I was talking about is not exactly like, it was a mistake.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is not the way that I would recommend doing life. And so here's what I'm doing instead. And then you just started creating content like in that instead.
I started going in that. And then I did another video because like Beachbody has led into body. And although like I'm still technically a partner, I don't like build a business around it, but I'm still using the workouts, right? So I spilled another video off of that one of like what I'm doing now in the app. And that one's performing really well. So I have two places where I really want to share my experience as a 51-year-old mid-size, midlife, endomorph body with no gallbladder does for her health.
Okay.
So yeah.
So when did you start your channel? Like how long ago?
2013. So
it's 2024. So we're talking about 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
So in 10 years, you had 220 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last year, you've gained that exact many subscribers. You've doubled in 1 year what you did in 10 years.
Yes. And I wasn't even consistent. Like really, like, there was huge pockets where I'm like, no, I didn't publish anything this week because, and fill in the blank. There was huge pocket, but the videos were working for me, which is exactly what YouTube does.
Yeah. So tell me, what did you do to figure out then, okay, I have this channel, I have this audience, now I'm on track with, this is the type of content I want to create, this is what I want to talk about, these are the people I want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
How do we generate revenue with that? Like, what was your thought process for what you were going to create as an offer?
Yes.
And like, how did you connect it to your YouTube channel?
Well, I had to go back to, again, like it really, it's almost like this inner calling in me. I had to go back to like what my catalyst was. And for me, it was walking. And it was back when I was 26 years old, I had just gotten rid of my gallbladder. That wasn't even enough for me to start walking. It wasn't until I had to start walking for life because I had to walk my son to school and walk up a great big hill back home, huffing and puffing and dying. I didn't want to be seen because it was embarrassing. I was overweight. I didn't like the way I looked. So I would take this longer route and it would take me 30 minutes to get home instead of 10, but I didn't have to walk up a big hill. It was a gradual hill and it was more comfortable. And within a year, nobody was more surprised than me. I call it my accidental weight loss because I never saw myself in that type of life before. And I was so surprised to be looking at a different person in the mirror a year later, but not only physically, but mentally as well. And so that was the reason why I had a difficult time being like a Beachbody, a body coach, because the concept is be proof the program works. And I'm like, but, and people would come to me and they're like, I just can't stick to it. It's hard. And I'm like, but all you got to do is walk. You just have to have something that you can do every day so that you can be successful at sticking to something. So I thought, okay, well, the book I wrote about, the journey, the ugly side of weight loss and everything in between. And then the play I do is all about body image and how we see ourselves differently and in different lights. And I'm like, I just need to take people to the basics. So I decided that that's where I was going to start. Even though I was like, I had to block my mind of the fact that there's a million people talking about walking, but they're not going to talk about it like I am. So that's where I started. And I put together a little challenge, did a little beta test, and everybody loved the program. And then we went through our digital product challenge in the Thriving Creator Society. And you taught me it's not that I had never learned this stuff before, but I was being guided through, and then the community gives you feedback. And, it's kind of like you have your cheerleader, and I'll be the last one to say that I need accountability because hello, stubborn. But it's really great to have that feedback and then that process that you're reminded that this is your next step. This is your next step. This is your next step. It's not like it's a shortcut because, well, it is a shortcut, but if you continue to look for another shortcut, it's not the shortcut, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, I think it's a longer process to get the mindset where this is going to work, even though everything else is not. This is going to work. I just need to put one foot in front of the other. And so I did that. And again, life got busy. You started the YouTube funnel this January. You launched that program in this January. Was
January.
That? Mm-hmm. But in between there, the stubbornness and frustration was just growing because I saw that people were finding me. I saw that this whole vision and this dream that I have for how people are going to find me and how natural it's going to feel, I felt like it was just the opportunity was being missed every time I was busy. And so when I went through the YouTube funnel process, it literally showed me all the holes that I had, and I had to fill them in, which was something that I had never done before. I've done for other people over and over and over, but never for myself. And so it was that process that was really different too. And again, it was taking me a lot longer than I thought it would be. And I'm thinking, here's Meredith thinking Karen is just such a flake. She's been working on this thing for weeks. But again, I go by the guiding post of I need to ensure that I get the right amount of time away from screens and preserve.
Yeah. Well, it's not a race or anything, right?
And that's what you kept saying.
Yeah,
right?
it's not a race. And I know that when, like with the funnel program specifically, we're doing a lot of work on messaging.
Yes.
Which is not something that comes naturally to our brains. Like it's something you have to learn. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like talking to a camera or something. No one's really born knowing how to talk to a camera and being confident and comfortable. Yeah. And so when you're learning how to do something while at the same time spending the time to do the thing,
yeah,
it can feel kind of slow. Mm-hmm. But once you've done it, now like you can do it again, or now you can tweak it. And now, you can just send traffic to your funnel. So it sounds like last summer, we did the 6-week digital product challenge inside the membership.
Yes.
You created an idea for a program, or you already had a program?
I had already had this beta that I had played with. And I'm
So
like,
had you made sales of the beta?
yeah, very small. It was like pay what you can.
Okay.
So I think I earned a total of $45.
Okay.
And I had 12 members. And from that, I was able to go through the process of finding out what worked and what didn't work, because I had people that actually did it and they were willing to talk to me about it. So you took us through the digital product challenge, and then I learned the messaging, because I can write and write and write and write. I love creative writing. It's my favorite thing to do. But this was so hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was so hard to message right, and just to kind of flip the way I think, and just make sure that I'm inserting the right calls to action, or else there's nothing's going to happen.
Right. Was there anything that made it, like you said, it's not a shortcut, but it sort of is a shortcut into the learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a shortcut into the doing.
No.
You still have to put the time, the energy and the effort into doing the work. But was there anything in the funnel program that made it, made it possible to create your funnel that you feel like made it quicker for you?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I had to put it down and pick it up again, and I always knew exactly where I needed to go next. And actually the scripting process, although it took me a longer time to write, I was very confident, and am very confident about what it's produced, like what's come out of it, like the quality of the product that I created for people just to go and learn. I feel really good about. And that was huge.
Did you use the fill in the blank scripts
Yes.
for the funnel videos?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the email templates. That's also something that's always been lacking in my own system. I always feel like it's like pushy. It's interesting. I never feel like that when I'm receiving it. It's like, oh yeah, that's normal, right? It was just writing it. And so having those scripts to follow as an outline, it, like I said, it helped me figure out where my holes were. Mm-hmm. So there was one email in that, and I'm like, does my sales page even say anything like this? And, I go back to my sales page and I'm like, what a wimpy sales page. No wonder 707 people have landed here, but nobody has found any interest in it, because it's not clear. So it allowed me to, the reason why it took a little bit longer is because I was also filling in all the other gaps and the holes. And I thought, okay, inside the program, we need a little bit more cohesiveness. The word of the year.
There's that word again.
And so it allowed me to use a fine-toothed comb, mm-hmm. and go through every step and system and process, because I wanted to make sure that what I'm saying in the video, I'm also delivering, above expectations.
Okay. So now you have an offer, a program that you've completed the funnel. You have it mm-hmm. implemented on your channel.
Yes.
And you just finished that how many days ago?
Wednesday.
So today is Friday, so 2 days ago. And you made a sale yesterday.
Yes.
So it was like 24 hours.
Oh, pardon me. It was Tuesday. It was okay. Tuesday, because that's right. Because I showed up to the Wednesday call all proud. Right. It's like
Right.
I
Yes, because you had
actually
it all done. Yeah.
I've been on content lockdown. That was another thing that I did to myself out of my stubbornness is I'm not allowing myself to write, produce any other piece of content until this process is complete. And
That's a
so
really key thing right
yeah,
there. Because if you're always creating content, trying to well, I have to be consistent on YouTube, I have to
yeah.
show up, I'm building my audience. But like if you're putting the time into that, but you
Mhm.
haven't put the time to create some way to capture leads or generate sales, then it's like, when are you going to have time to capture the leads or sales?
Well, that's exactly. And so that's the hamster wheel I've been fighting with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so nothing like this has quote unquote worked so fast. Like once I got it going, and every day I would check my YouTube stats and the video that I did 2 months ago based on everything that, I learned in the Thriving Creator Society, using the script, using the calls to action, using everything that you lay out for us, still generating subscribers every single day. So there's 2 months without creating content, but my channel is working for me. So I had that like as like just continued to motivate me to be on this content lockdown. And so then it's kind of funny because I was out, as you know, but the listeners don't know. I had gone out to the trail because I've started running again twice a week for 20 minutes. I used to run marathons, but I wanted to remind myself what it's like to be a beginner. And I went down to the trail because I slept in a little bit and I didn't want to be seen in the neighborhood being thunderfoot. Lots of people might see me. Someone I know might see me and might ask, "Oh, are you running again?" And I was like feeling all these feels, right? And I was like, so I go down to just, I was like, okay, I did my funnel yesterday. I'm just going to treat myself. I'm going to go to the trail. And I come back from the run and I get this message from Kajabi, the server, that I have a new student. I'm like, this is my dream come true right now in this moment, is that I am doing things other than being at my desk and people are finding me. So my little virtual assistants out on YouTube that are me are working. And so that was, yeah. And so for everybody that doesn't know, I sent Meredith a sweaty video volley message, nearly crying because I was just, it's just happened so fast. And I know that there's still a lot of work to do to continue. But I feel so free because now I'm back to content writing. I'm back. I've set myself free from content lockdown. So there's so many rewards, not to mention that I get to really help people through this catalyst of just, you know, loving the journey between the ups and downs of weight loss. It's not here or there. It's who we are being on the way there.
Mm-hmm.
And the, it's just as worthy of that self-love in between as it is when you get there. So
what happens next now that you have your funnel is set up, you know that it converts, you know that it's bringing in leads,
mhm.
but it's also converting sales wise. I mean, we've proved that. So what
Yes.
happens next for you? Can you give me what is your next plan of action now that you're off of content lockdown and you can start creating regular YouTube videos again? What's
Yes.
your plan from here?
So my plan from here is to definitely continue. I've, I'm pretty much okay with not being on Instagram and Facebook and just diving deep into YouTube, finding out more about it. getting to know more people, more communities on it. And then also just continuing to make content that's going to serve the person that is going to be eventually inside my programs, if that's where they want to be. But I, I have this vision of being like this little corner of the internet where I'm someone with you on the journey of just living in a happy, healthy body, navigating this thing we call life and age, and continuing alongside each other. So that could be in a different place a year from now, but there's always going to be those catalysts. So I have lots of ideas of more like little mini products and whatnot that'll go along with the program or be, extras to the program. But I know where I'm taking the viewer. I know the path. I know the stuff that I want to share. And yeah, so that in and itself is a gift. And so there's another book coming. It's actually it's been written, but I know that when you write a book, you need to create an email list. So I'm also creating the email list for this next book, which is the Walk of Trust. It goes hand in hand with the walking program. So I'm really excited about that. I don't know. I think there's always going to be something going on. I do want to create another funnel experience for those folks that use the Body app and that are around my age and get in there and are like, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? And just simplify it. Because it is a really great app that has awesome programs, but some of them suck. So,
so do you have any advice if you had one piece of advice for anyone at any part of their YouTube online business journey, who is kind of in a similar spot where they're like, oh, kind of like talking about stuff on my channel that I'm not really sure if that's really the direction I want to go. I don't know what to even do next. What piece of advice would you give to people?
Oh, there's a couple. I mean, action is clarity. You're never going to know what that next step is if you don't move on it. And by move on it, I mean actually doing the thing, recording the video, but actually also moving your body. Go for a walk after you've maybe written out a script. Something else is going to drop into your mind. I guarantee it, because that energy moves through. Consistency is what you make of it. So if your consistency is like once a month, a really great video, be okay with that. Just keep moving forward. And my last and final one is what you're talking about now. If you still know for sure a year from now, you're going to love talking about it, that's the thing to talk about. Because a lot of times we can get stuck in that system of, well, they say that I'd be really good at that. So that must be what I need to talk about. Or that person says, and then you get there and it just fizzles out. You get bored. But there's something inside you that you just cannot stop talking about. And that's the thing. Because you got to have the energy to keep going.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing your story and your journey. And congratulations on 500 subscribers and generating a sale with your YouTube funnel. Where can people find you and check out your channel and see what you're up to on YouTube?
Oh, my handle is for YouTube is at Karen Wilson Online. My website is karenwilson.online. Real original. You'll find everything about me there and on my YouTube channel. And thank you so much for having me. And thanks for never giving up on me. I always have the saying that if I'm here, that means I've committed, and I don't go away until I at least have given it my best shot. So I feel like now I'm actually giving it my best shot, and I know I still have so much more work to do and so much more ahead of me. And I look forward to, like, where are we going to be 1 year from now? Like, we can look back on this archive, right? It's pretty exciting. So thanks, Meredith.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Karen. Now, if you want to take your YouTube channel like Karen did and set up a YouTube funnel to generate revenue from that, in episode 1 of this podcast, I broke down exactly what my YouTube funnel system looks like, how it works, and how you can create one for your own business so that your courses and programs essentially sell themselves. So dive into episode 1 of this podcast now and make sure you follow me here for my very next episode. Of course, my air conditioning had to kick on at the very last sentence.